Watching this sculpture fly through the air on a crane, I was openly weeping. These were tears of joy. It started off, I said to Cary, I want a sculpture of my wife. He said, well, what would you think if I took the elements of a Jody painting, threw them into thin air and surrounded them with a steel finial? You've seen paintings of sculpture. You've never seen a sculpture of a painting. And here is the genius of Cary Shafer. He was influenced by Jody, credits her with starting his art career. He captured the explosive fluidity of her brush strokes.
I thought, what would Jody like? What is Jody known for? How do you capture what Jody is? It's true about all of Jody's work is there's a way that the colors talk to each other. There's a motion. There's a lot of negative space that you have to work at to see. I do recall the moment when I was, what if I threw all these colors up in the sky? I thought, well, you know, I could create a steel frame and that'd be like a frame of a painting, and internal works could be the brush strokes, you know, her pencil strokes or her fat blasts of color.
The Amaryllis sculpture is by no means the beginning. Alex Hall's got the murals going. Certainly she deserves a lot of credit. I don't want people to think that this gateway sculpture is all about Jody, because Jody wouldn't want that. She was all about the neighborhood and all the artists in it.
As part of the artwork, there will be a very significant monument to announce that you are entering West Central neighborhood. The last 20 years have been transformational. It's now a destination. You don't just pass through downtown, you actually come here for events. We do want to stick out our chest a little bit and say, we're West Central, we're part of Fort Wayne, we're part of the downtown, we're part of this city's vibrancy. It will have sidewalks around it that connect it to other very significant investments in things like electric works. We're huge into improving the livability. That's got to include walkability, bikeability, being outside, being active.
It's cool that the neighborhood will have a visual symbol, and maybe that will help remind people what it really was all about here, you know, that there was an art school here. People came here for a reason.
Everybody who's ever loved West Central, this is a symbol of success. The outcome of this neighborhood was in serious doubt in the 70s. Absentee landlordism had taken many buildings down. The hospital was tearing buildings down for a parking lot. And Jody Hemphill Smith one day made 100 signs and gathered all her friends, and we marched on that hospital in the rain. Through all that turmoil and trouble, we have succeeded. And we have saved this neighborhood. Not just Jody and me, everybody who's ever loved it. This is the symbol of triumph.
That architecture, when it's gone forever. These are all very unique because they were individually crafted by the artisans of their day. As soon as you move in, all you hear about is the history of art. An artist used to live there, an artist did that, an artist did that. We have probably more than a half a dozen neighborhood artist pieces right in our home. I'm looking at a Jody off to my right. She just was kind of the epitome of the neighborhood. She was fighting for trees, tooth and nail. Nobody fought harder for green. She was an artist. She ran an art gallery in the neighborhood, and it was around for 30 years, selling worldwide. You know, she was around for 50 years. If the neighborhood's 150, that means she was a third of it. That's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
Jody was the welcoming committee of West Central, so I want to see this sculpture in my mind as Jody waving to each person as they enter the neighborhood that she loved.
That was the whole thing about Castle Gallery. Everybody was welcome. It didn't matter if you were there to buy a piece or not. It was to come, celebrate with other people, look at it, learn. I don't think they set out to make themselves famous. I think they set out to do what they loved. They specialized in making people feel like what they were doing was important. Together, they created something for Fort Wayne that's long-lasting and beautiful.
I got a phone call from a friend of mine that was in the steel business. Well, KDI is a great fabricator, and they had people who were so interested in solving problems.
We're here at Camera Dynamics where steel is finally being cut. 100,000 cars a week will see this. Fort Wayne has voted with its pocketbook to change their artistic skyline.
We've got our steel being cut. We're taking my digital files and they are now being translated to this laser machine that is burning out the individual pieces. The individual pieces will be assembled, welded together, and to see the lines being translated physically is so exciting. You can actually touch the creativity.
Well, I can tell you after meeting Cary, I've never truly met an artist. Cary is an artist. He's extremely passionate, he's very eccentric. It's fun to work with those kind of guys because they just grab your imagination. Sometimes your excitement pulls you through all the fears. Number one I was concerned about was the structure of it because it's so heavy and it's so big. But then I seen Engineering Resources was involved. They're a top-notch design firm, and when I seen they were involved, my worries kind of melted away.
When I really started looking at it, I'm like, okay, this thing's big. My hardest thing was making sure all his layers were, displayed correctly.
I wanted to build the flower myself, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to. Me and Adam had worked together previously.
If you see, we've got 30, 40 pages of prints on this one job, and there's a lot to it. Top part is 22 feet long and like 15 feet wide, 15-inch channel, so pretty heavy and awkward. Yeah, it can get a little sketchy.
I'm already taking pictures and showing my son as we're building it now.
It's an honor. I mean, I'm anxious to see what it looks like when I'm done.
And then to go to the KDI to see all the pieces laser cut out and then assembled and then painted and assembled. I just tried to break down what one color would do next to a color. And the best way to do that is by, in your gut feeling. The greens had to vibrate off each other in order to be seen from that far. That red, that magenta color was the most difficult color because it had to communicate with the two different blues and communicate with the two different greens. And then there's that gold floating around. It looks great, but until you actually see it vertical, I'm not sure that it's, is this working? And it was flying through the trees. I got my first big smile. I'm a dramatist. My hero was Bernini because Bernini wanted everybody to go, wow!
It is going to make a splash, as it appropriately should. 5 years from now, people are going to go, that was there forever, right? Because it will be that integral to the neighborhood and feel like such a perfect fit.
I'm going to tell you how this project ranks. This is the number one thing. This is Jody coming back to life to welcome people to her neighborhood and our neighborhood. What I love about this public artworks is we are giving it away for free. There's a guy in the city who needs to be mentioned. That's Nick Gerald. And Nick made sure that all the sidewalks were poured, the foundation was poured. He came up with good ideas in the formulation of the plans for construction, like the curb around the concrete cylinder that dovetails into the big donor brick pathway, which was Nick's idea. Many people in the city who championed this cause from the beginning shared Jody's vision long before she died. And once she died, they were only too ready to pick up the collective torch and march forward. And they wanted to memorialize that spirit because people want this town to be known for what it is, a fountain of artistic creativity.